The party
Guy
was
Fieri.
lame to me.
Fieri.
Fieri.
This is the fun.
Yeah.
So they're trying to track him down. Mora's at the party.
I just want to say, you are never allowed to pick the freaking theme for anything again. Okay. Albuquerque, fire truck. We're just yelling out words now? What's going on here? Hello, everyone, and welcome to BS Drunk Movie Reviews. This is a weekly podcast, and we do upload the video version to our YouTube channel, so be sure to check us out there. My name is Matt, and as always, I'm being joined by my co-host and sister, Vetta.
Hi, guys.
Hey, you. And on this episode, you guys, this is our recap for season 7. We had a great season. It was super fun. Vetta, how'd you feel about season 7?
It went so well. We finally got the guest thing kind of under control.
Kind of, yeah, we got it under control. Sorry, my drink popped and everything while I was singing.
It sprayed on his face a little.
Yeah,
he likes a facial.
I do like it. It wasn't something new. So, okay, so you guys, we're gonna just ask each other some questions like we do every season recap. If you've listened to our podcast, and we're just gonna sit and chit chat with each other a little bit and just reminisce about the season and everything. Yeah, Vetta, I thought this was a good season. I really enjoyed it. I loved, most of the movies that we watched, and yeah, it was just a really good time.
Oh yeah. I feel like we had some troubles, but they didn't have anything to do with the podcast. Yeah, we'll get to those. They didn't really have anything to do with the podcast. They just affected the podcast.
They did affect the podcast.
Yeah. I think this season went great, and it was super fun.
It was super fun. Yeah, I had a great time with it. Like you said, we finally kind of got the guest thing under control, and it was super fun, and all our guests were great. They were all great.
Oh, so great.
Okay, well let's get into the questions that we normally ask each other for each season. You want to start?
Yeah, so my first question, as always, is what was your favorite movie from season 7?
Okay. So when I was going to answer this question, my immediate answer was This Is Me Now, which was the first movie, the Jennifer Lopez movie. But then I was like, I can't go with my first answer. I have to think about it. And I thought about it.
Not be your favorite movie.
Dude, because it's Spice World. I love Spice World. It's so good. I'm all like, I have to pick Spice World. That's just like the best movie ever, especially with all these movies. So that's the one that I chose, is Spice World. What did you choose?
Spice World was a close second for me, but I went with Boy Kills World.
Oh gosh, that was a good one.
I just loved that.
That was a good one.
I mean, I still think about how he said nothing. Bill Skarsgård said nothing. He grunted through the whole movie. It was the narrator, the voice from Bob's Burger. I mean, and they were so in step, and it was.
Did he just kill her?
I loved it. I loved it so much.
That was a good movie. I did enjoy that movie also. All right, so I'll ask the next one, which is, what was your least favorite movie of season 7?
There were multiple.
There were a couple, yeah.
I had to make a top 3 and then
top 3, okay.
I prioritize those. So I do have just one as my worst, but if you'd like to hear what it was battling with.
I want to hear what it was battling with.
So my 3 least favorite, the top 3 of my least favorite were in no particular order. This Is Me Now, The Coffee Table, and Tiptoes.
Oh my gosh, Tiptoes.
So every single one of these movies made me go, who green-lighted this movie? Because they should be fired. They should be locked away. None of these movies should have been made. But I had to go with Tiptoes as my least favorite movie because it just made no sense. There was really no legit plot, rhyme, or reason. It was just a reason to cast a bunch of little people in a movie with 2 stars. It just made
Yeah, and you're just like, why didn't you guys just make Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Like you could have cast it.
They did, and that was shit too.
Well, they didn't cast any little people, but Peter
Right.
Dinklage had plenty to say about it. Okay, but he was into. All
As
right,
he should.
yeah. So my least favorite movie, and you had mentioned it, was The Coffee Table. This is the thing. It's not that the movie is bad. It's just it really was a bummer, and I'm like, I just don't want to watch it ever again because it just bummed me out the
Yeah.
whole time.
Oh, I will never watch that movie
Like
again.
it's just like maybe it's just the subject matter was just too much for me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have kids and they're still young and I'm still like, and I'm baby crazy. Like every time I see a baby, I was like, I want another baby and everything. So I don't know. It just I don't know. It's a well-made movie and it's pretty. It's like I don't want to say it's a bad movie. It's just I can't. It just made me
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. The whole concept of it is just ridiculous. Yeah. But it definitely has like it's well made and everything, but I agree. It's horrible. That's why I debated between it, but I was like, it did have like from an artistic point of view as far as like the filming and things like that. Tiptoes, I think
No,
they
that's a
like
good choice.
ad-libbed the script as they
Yeah.
went along.
Yeah, when you get Peter Dinklage with a fake French accent, and he's all like, "I'm a Marquise," and you're all like, "What's going on here? This is
And they're on
ridiculous."
the little tricycle motorcycles
Motorcycle with
and they
Patricia Arquette. Talk about he's my man, whore.
it just makes no sense
Yeah,
at all. All
it was pretty
right.
crazy. Okay,
So next question is, what was your favorite drink from season 7?
So for me personally, it was the Spice Girl. It was delicious. The only thing about it, and I said it in the when we reviewed that movie, was there's one of the stuff to put in it is called creme de noya, and I said it was creme de noying to a fine because I could only find it in one place by my house, and I was just like, oh, this is like it's like a 30-40 minute drive to find this from
And
because
that
like
person didn't tell you that's been sitting on the shelf for 4 years.
nah. But I'm glad that I went and got it because A, that creme de noya stuff is delicious, and two, the drink was super freaking good. I made it like so many times after that, so it's good. So that was my favorite drink of the season so far.
So mine was from the eternal sunshine of a spotless mind, the ruin
Yeah.
that she makes. That was delicious, which I still go. She didn't. She called it a ruin because that was the color of her hair dye at that. But she just literally picked up a bunch of bottles that she had and just poured them and got lucky, and it was delicious.
Right on. That's so true. Probably. Yeah, because if it was orange, you'd call it, what would you call it then? The explosion. Okay,
Right.
so all right. So the next question, all right. What was your favorite moment of season 7?
So I have like specific moments, but I really feel like I can just say it, generalize it, and then give it. So it's more or less like where I go into something thinking wrong, or I have to give like a super explanation. Like, this is me now. I didn't watch it and was mad when you picked it because I thought it was a documentary.
That was good. That's so true. I remember that now. That's so good. I love that you thought it was a documentary. There's like floating fish in it and shit, and you thought it was a documentary.
I always depends. I hadn't actually watched it. Could you imagine if I watched it and came
I
on
love
and was
that.
like,
Oh,
this is the worst documentary ever. Why were there glass walls?
why is there a rose petal art factory?
Where's that located? I want to take that
Yeah,
tour.
yeah, I'll work at a factory where all we do is dance and make rose petals. Okay.
Yes, so that.
That was
Yeah, or
good.
where I start watching the movie The Nurse and are 20 minutes into
Oh,
it, pissed off that you paid money for that. It was the wrong movie.
I should have said Nurse 3D when I text you, but I just it's so good.
Situations like that where like for a moment my brain just doesn't work properly.
God, I wish you would have not watched the Nurse 3D and just watched the Nurse movie, and then you're just all like,
Imagine
yeah, you're just like bringing up stuff, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about, you whore? Like,
why is she at-home nurse, yet she's
Yeah,
dressed like she's got the sexy nurse costume on.
Oh God, that would have been good. I wish you would have done that, but should, could have, would have. Okay. So for me, my favorite moment was, and it's a whole an episode of the podcast, and that's when we did the coffee table with our brother Don.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the whole time I was getting like annoyed with him because I was just like, I'm gonna have to cut out so much shit from this episode while editing this. I am so annoyed right now. It's gonna take me forever. And then I went back and while I was editing it, I'm like, no, this is hilarious. I'm not taking any of this. I took out like tops. I took out maybe 3 minutes because it like there was like some dead air in there or whatever. But I'm all like, no, the rest of this is funny. I'm
My
like, I'm
favorite
keeping
is
all
how
of
he
it.
looks like he's the Unabomber.
Yeah, I guess he's,
He's literally camping in the middle of the room and he had that like snuggie on.
He has the snuggie. That's good. Okay. Okay. So my question for you next is, what is your favorite part of the podcast?
Um, well, that was supposed to be my question.
Oh, then you ask it. Sorry, sorry. You ask it. Sorry.
We always have the same answer, but that's okay. What was your favorite part of the podcast? Of
You
doing
know what I'm gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. It's spending time with you, fucker.
right, for sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So,
I always enjoy spending time with you. This is a good time. We always laugh. We have a good time. I can't think of when we ever got into a fight. Maybe we need to change that. Like I need to.
I can think of where you've threatened to end the podcast because I pick terrible themes.
That's just
or I keep picking Bella Thorne movies.
No, my God, I swear to Christ. No more. You picked the one that I actually had seen before that, so it was okay. But any more, and I'm fucking out. I'm not joking about that. That I'm serious
My
about.
favorite was I picked the one that it was a sequel, and
I didn't know. Suck it. And there was like a volcano eruption or whatever.
He couldn't get on a plane.
I think we've got to one of these days we're just gonna have to buckle down and watch that first movie and just although not for next season. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. I have to get in the mood.
I told you I'm still gonna die on the hill of she was there one day and was like, why? They were like, we need a reason on why you can't get on the plane. And she's like, a volcano. That would keep me from getting on the plane.
Because they're just erupting every day. Like
well, Pompeii is close to Italy, I guess.
I guess that's so good. Gosh, man. I can't. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what for you? What was the most challenging part of this season 7?
Life interfering with everything.
Dude, yeah.
It caused so many problems.
Yeah.
We had family medical things happen.
Well, you should just explain because I have the same thing. You go ahead and say.
So my husband turned 50, and so the family, like 30 family members and friends, we went to Las Vegas to celebrate, including our mom and dad were there. And on the last day that we were there, like people are checking out, everyone's got to get to flights. I get a phone call first thing in the morning, and I can tell you, I was at the club till 3 o'clock in the morning. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, our mom calls because our dad has fallen out of bed. I have never sobered up so fast in my life because we ended up having to take my dad to the hospital because he had a stroke. And therefore, I lived in Las Vegas for a month, going from the hotel to the hospital to the hospital to the hotel with my mother and father. And thank goodness I stayed, because could you have imagined our mother having to go through that alone? Like just showing her how to use a Lyft app was so comical.
Yeah.
So then it was kind of hard. Like we had to bring some movies out from the vault and toss those in because, and we had to rearrange some guests, but luckily it all worked out and he's home and he's doing great. Not quite back to 100% yet, and he may never be, but he's here and it could have been a lot worse. So we're going with the flow.
Right on. I wrote down just towards the end of the season, getting episodes out was a little bit of a
Yeah.
challenge. So,
Yep.
yep,
Yep.
nope, that is what it was and everything.
Yeah.
So, all right, you go with the
Alrighty.
next
So now we're gonna
question.
try to get back to the fun stuff here.
Yeah.
Um, what are any new goals or same goals you might have for the podcast?
So for the next season, season 8, I would like to keep doing guests because it's always fun to have guests on, but I also would like to maybe do some collaborations with other podcasts.
Oh, for
Try to
sure.
get the crew of a whole podcast on, not just one member of a podcast,
Oh,
and just chit chat about just talk about a movie, just
yeah.
laugh a lot and everything. It might be a little bit difficult because some podcasts have a lot of fucking members on it, but
Some do. Some
so
do.
yeah, I'm like, oh, yo, honey, maybe you need to bust this down to maybe like 3 members instead of seven.
I I
You
really
know?
want to say to some of them that it's a good thing there's only two of us and we bring guests on occasionally because when I drink, I have a over interrupting like my filter of waiting until of manners of waiting until someone's done speaking. Like they'll say a word and it'll trigger a thought, and I think I can just right then and there. If there's eight people
Trust me,
from
I know.
another podcast, I'll never shut up.
Right? You're just typing in the chat. You bet you shut the fuck up. I'm trying to talk. That'd be
Right.
so good. So, what was your goal for season 9 or
Um,
8?
Well, I just want to make it happen. Like we've been tossing around doing like weekly live streams
Oh yeah, yeah,
or monthly or whatever of like little subcategory little cocktails and whatever. I
yeah.
think getting those some live streams happening would be really fun because
It will
then
be
people
fun.
can really hear some of the stupid things that get edited out. I mean, most of
Hmm.
the time, if I say something stupid, he makes it into a short, so you get to see it eventually. But
Those are the good times.
those are,
People
those
love
are.
those. Those are those. Anyways, all right. So my last question for you is, and this is going to be a difficult one, but
It was.
who was your favorite guest of the season?
This was such a hard question to answer. And I will be 100% honest. I could only narrow it down to two, and I could not decide between the two of them. They
I
both bring
I
great things.
I think they know who they are because I had two too, and I had to decide between the two. Go ahead.
Okay, so I picked Vex and Chad. They are my favorites. Vex because I feel like we have a lot of the same thoughts, and like when we did Lisa Frankenstein, her and I were on the same page, and it was really great because you were not.
I was not on the same page. I'm still
No,
not on the same page.
no. And I just think Chad is amazing because he picks phenomenal movies that we
Hmm.
have such a great time talking to
Hmm.
him
And
about.
watching them, I had a good time
Oh,
watching
yeah.
them.
Could you imagine doing a live stream of a movie with him?
That would
I
be
think
great.
it would be great. So,
Right
yeah,
on.
those are my two. And I couldn't pick between the
Oh,
two.
see, I picked Vex Electronica. I love that girl so much.
Yeah.
She's so much fun and she's so sweet. And she's just like, she's reliable and she's just
Yeah.
understanding and stuff like that. So, I just love Vex so much and everything. So I picked her, but it was between her and Chad because I love
Yeah.
Chad too. He is so much fun and he's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it's such a good time. And like you said, he picked like two really good movies this season. And both of them, while I was watching and while we were talking about, I was having such a good time. Like while
Yeah.
watching it, I am so happy to be alive right now. This is
you're,
I'm
you're like anyone who has not seen this movie, their life is not fulfilled.
Exactly. Like when we watched Body of Evidence, like I just remember watching that movie because I had seen it before, but I watched it for the first time with my wife, and the whole time she's like, is this a porno?" And I was like, "No, it's not. This was a real life like I feel like they
In the
thought they were gonna
movie
get
theaters.
yeah, in the
Yeah.
theaters, and I feel like they thought they were gonna get Oscars for this
Right.
movie. And
My
then
thing with that movie was I saw it when I was younger, but then as an adult, the things that I picked up on, like the fact that you're like 2 minutes and 30 seconds in and you got nipple clamp.
yeah, right. It's so true. That's so true. And then
In the
when we watched
courtroom, you've got like the one guy that she ends up ending her relationship with because he likes men, and
right,
she's
yeah.
not into that. You're just like, as when I was younger and saw it, those things just didn't like register at all. And as an adult, I was like, oh man, this is a risque, dirty ass movie.
Yes.
It's
So
great.
good. So good, dude. So Yeah, I'm excited for the next season. I really just hope we keep the energy up and everything. And
Yeah.
I know we're small and everything, but I still have a good time with it. And even if we never like blast off or anything like that, I just love that we get to watch like all these movies and then we get to sit and talk about it and stuff like that. And it's a good
Well,
time.
and we live far enough away from each other that not that sounded wrong. We live really far away from each other, so at least it guarantees. I mean, we talk on the phone at least once a week, but this like guarantees that like we're still talking and interacting and
Hmm.
get to see each other because otherwise it would be what, like once a year or twice a
Yeah.
year. So, yeah.
Yeah, no. It's always a good time.
Yep, this
All
is gonna
right,
be
hooker face.
yeah.
You want to say anything before we wrap up our recap of the season?
Well, again, with the guests, I am almost positive that if I lived anywhere near Vex and Chad, they would be my best friends. Now, I'm not saying they'd want me to be their best friend,
Well,
but
Vex
they'd
is
be my best friends.
at the moment, Vex doesn't live that far from me. I'm totally gonna go. I need to visit her sometime in the near future, so that way before she moves to Florida and stuff. But
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
well, then we're gonna see her, we're gonna have to start a true crime podcast dedicated to her.
All right, you guys. Well, we're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening to us, you guys, and our shenanigans and everything. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at BS Drunk Pod to stay updated and everything. We will be back for season eight. No, yes, no, eight. Yeah, for eight. In about a month, give or take. We're gonna take a small break so we can, bone up for the season and get everything ready and everything. But I just want to say that thank you so much for sticking around with us and everything. If you do listen to us on Apple Podcast or on Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. We would really appreciate it, and it helps us out a lot. We'll also be posting the video version of this to our YouTube channel, like I mentioned out in the intro and everything. So make sure to subscribe to us in there and like and share and all that good stuff. And that's at YouTube at BS Drunk Movie Reviews. Also, you guys, we do have a Patreon where we review a series and everything, and we've done plenty of those, and there's plenty of different levels to suit your interest and everything. So go and check out the link below and everything. But most importantly, you guys, please don't forget to drink, recap, review, and repeat. Bye, you
Bye,
guys.
guys.